Good morning, crew. I, it's just another morning where I felt like maybe I should shoot another video. I sure haven't had much to say online lately, or to myself. I haven't. I'm trying to get out of this, I hate to call anything a rut, but what I told y'all I was in, going through in the last video shoot, I just caught some of it. I seem to have forgotten how much I've been impacted by the killing of Irina Zarutska. I mean, I felt like I should really let myself feel the tragedy, and, I did, but, just listening back, yeah, I, I don't know how to pull any good news out of that, but I have been trying to recreate that fossil I'd said I'd lost in the last video. Okay, I'm not seeing a setting to just flip the camera around, but, for sure it had like an oval-shaped head and, this circular eye and a big neck, kind of a pointed nose. You see, gosh, it drives me crazy. I can't just flip the lens to the or flip over to the other. And I can show you the one I still have, which I had just forgotten I left here, but I thought some police that had pulled me over had taken the one, and I left the others with my car when it broke down. That's such a sad story, but yeah, there's not really consistency in how I'm drawing it. It looks like I ran out of space on the canvas. I had to start over on the back. Got these paints just for recreating this, and I seem to be having a lot of trouble doing so. Before that, sometime before that, really, this one's taking me forever. I'm using a glow-in-the-dark paint. I just thought that'd be cool as can be. And, I don't know if it needs said, but this is not furry art. That's not what I'm going for. But, I just, I got to some point where I just haven't touched it in forever. It's not finished. Or I hadn't been finished, but, that's a couple things I haven't shown y'all yet. Oh, yeah. The fossil I have left. Well, maybe I really did lose it now. Okay. This is much smaller than the one I'm depicting. Like, there's bigger faces on that canvas because it was bigger in real life. You can see where there's some blood coming down the nose, one of the nostrils, but this other alien was a whole different alien. Looked more related to whites. It actually looked related to me and my dad, and it had a more oval shaped head. Like it gets all rough at the top here. The skin of this thing seemed more smooth, where this is a more scaly skinned fossil, but the other one was much bigger and its neck was huge too. And so it sucks. I lost those pieces of history. I don't know if I can find anything like them again. But yeah, just to kind of contextualize. Let me see where I've put that. Alright. To contextualize that story, and yeah, I am. Yesterday was Leif Erikson, Leif Erikson Day. And I gather today is Columbus Day, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I tried to learn a little about that yesterday. Gosh, I'm not feeling very chatty this one. Me and my dad are planning to install a pull-up bar in here. I was just gonna buy myself one, but he had other ideas. And, gosh, we did so good, this long time ago. We had one installed at my parents'. Well, I say it's hard to remember all the way back that far, but I never know what I'll remember. Like sometimes there's like, oh God, I could lose all my memories, and I've kind of made a poor record keeper to myself. I lost these freaking missing link fossils that are out of this world, like literally. You don't know what the hell it could have been other than some humanoid aliens, and like this was a whole different type, and I made a mistake. I didn't really want to go on and on about that, though. There's other things that have bothered me. I always think something's up with my health, but that's personal. Something is up with my health, the way I've been sleeping, oversleeping, using sleep as a drug. But, I've been here before, where every day I just like don't even want to start on doing anything. You know, I'm sure I look like a bit of a mess, but I don't think I should be in hiding from the world. and just never get a video shot and, stay tired. That's not what I intend to do at all. But yeah, I learned of a lot of hush crimes on Twitter, and people are saying unplug, or that they sometimes have to unplug to get a better sense of health from the internet. That there's a return to health when they do that, and I keep thinking I should do that. I keep thinking I should unplug, but anymore, I don't really think I'm plugged in enough, I think I'm the last person to hear about these hush crimes. I live under a rock, and like it's my own fault. Like, it's a harsh way of putting what's going on with me, but, when you just you see yourself so wasteful with time like you never are. Abusing sleep like it's a drug for you, and I got here gradually. I did fight it. I'm not throwing in the towel. I don't like the sight of that cabinet open. That's my sister's horseshoe from a long time ago. Probably would have been left in the barn to rot forever. Forgotten about, but no, she'll never forget when she had horses. And we upgraded the four-wheelers, or I think I don't know. It's a sad story too now, because like she really would have liked if she'd have kept the horses, but I think they were sold so she could have her own four-wheeler or something. I don't want to tell the story wrong, but that's personal too. The unplugging, haven't thrown in the towel, and then I interrupted myself. Was the cabinet? Alright, I remember where I was. Yeah. I'm not giving up, but I sure crave structure. I live on what I've learned to call the monthly tugboat, and I had some odd work for this old man, and I knew he'd run out, and he seems to be running way out of things for me to do, and I think I could get a job, but it would also be unfulfilling to work for an anti-white company or corporation, just be a cog in the machine so I can be a cog in something. I'm currently a wrench. Somehow. I'm certainly not anti-white enough for the anti-whites. I'm looking for a consistent train of thought to talk with. But, like, another way in which I think I've made a poor records keeper is, okay, I was looking at this old photo book of another one of my sisters, not the one who's horseshoe, that is. Um, I got to know this one more, like, in my adult years. Um, Not that I hadn't known her, but, I would. I see her now more than the one I grew up with. Anyway, I was looking at this old photo book of hers. So I got to see, like, my dad young, my grandparents and grandpa I'd never met young, and gosh, she and my grandma, they looked really good. That these were nice pictures. I got the impression of more innocent times, but I'm like, I have nothing like this. I have nothing left of what I had. My A lot of the art I've done, both growing up and like I photos, I didn't even want to get started on the art because that's a sad story all its own, and you know, um, it's a dark place. It's a dark place in my mind. But photos, right? Like, I have no photo book, but I do have memories. Where did they go? you know, where'd all the pictures I saw fit to take and others took of me, where'd they go? They're on phones. Old phones we keep replacing. Um, I'm like, God. I lost my own art history that had been specific to me, revealed itself to me. And, like, I don't have any of the friends left I used to really, I sure enjoyed having friends. No, I've got a few. I've got a few now, but just like every day, there's a sense of loss. It could be from years back loss, or more recent, or just I've got to be an example of overcoming all this, all the problems I'm having with my own life, and the way it the way it kind of paints a grim future for me. I mean, kind of. Just the way I get in my mind and, let things bother me like I do. Just trying to get past that point, where I'm like, you know, I am where I am now, you know, and I have to make something out of it. But, you know, just the way it looks sometimes, like, like I'm doomed to the same patterns or something. No, I've just got to break the patterns. Hmm. So, Hassan Piker shocked his dog. Now, I don't know if he had, like, what Vosh had, whereas, like, obviously Lolicon on his computer or something. But I get the impression he's got his own skeletons in his closet. And one he, like, skeleton he likes to show us is that he shocks his dog to keep him in place, keep him just in the shot of his recording, like, you know, a background prop. I can't say I'm surprised. I can't say I'm surprised he'd do his dog like that. I mean, you know, I remember Jason touching on his anti-whiteism, and damn does he have a bloodthirst for us. Damn does he want us to be harmed. Like, I think that used to be the first video you'd see when you go to his channel on Rumble. And, No White Guilt, yeah, at the top I used to see that video of him breaking down Hassan Piker's anti-whiteism. Gosh. I like to be a cheery host or whatever I call myself when I shoot a video for you all. Yeah, I do have you in my house. I am a host. I wanted to be a cheery one, and I'm like, okay, this is the video I've shot this far. Yeah, I want to be positive and white positive. I just, I don't, I don't know where these are going. Like I said, I live under a rock. I'd like to unplug from the internet, but I also, to my own standard, have already, like, my online activity has waned to myself. I had created graphics for the first handful of videos I shot, and at least a few. Had started this t-shirt design, and you know, it says No White Guilt in a certain font, and there's like this Eindolin and a reptile's eye beneath it, and it kind of makes like an exclamation mark. So that's inside of a. Maybe that's better sound than described, but I haven't touched it in forever. Now, seemed like a real good idea, and I just, you know, and I think, you know, I can meme, what can I do, or can I mean? It'd be a totally new art. But, you know, like, there's got to be something more I can do. And I came into Donald Trump Jr. live late yesterday, or the live chat. But I did remember it yesterday. Some point there's those. It's gotten cold in here. Oh, I can't stand the cold. Even the cold of Walmart. Like, uh, me and my dad went to this restaurant the other day and I was freezing in there. I'm like, gosh, I should have known to bring a jacket. And it's cooling down slowly over here. It's these were supposed to be a temporary step over from vaping. They outlawed sorry, started getting in my head. They outlawed disposable nicotine vapes and well, all the good vapor. You know, you'll just have to have those devices that you keep refilling with expensive fluid and coils and, you know, if you want to vape, I guess. And I wasn't having that. I bought my share of non-disposable devices, and each one at some point I drop it and it breaks. And I'm like, well, there goes the money I spent on it if I want to spend it again, you know. So, like, it was supposed to be very temporary that I would smoke instead. But even the thought of, you know, another puff right now, it's kind of like, sort of. Sometimes it's just, meh. But what do you do? I'm seated like this because I like to turn the back of my head to the source of the noises outside. I like things coming at me from in front of me, or at least closer, if that makes sense. Which is all the time. Might as well not beat a dead horse. Just taking it in. Whoa. It's already been 30 minutes. Yeah. So I had to rewatch Charlie Kirk Solved on Rumble. We've been going over. Jason has an explanation that confirms more about the killing, and I think the conclusion was that he was not shot by a speaker in the back of his shirt because of the way his shirt would have bounced if he had been. That we can conclude it wasn't that. I think that's where he went with that. It's a heavily censored take, I gather. Just not welcome on the world stage like every theory as to what happened. I was thinking I'd go for a little jog today. May start on that pretty soon. Still do that. Hasn't been as frequent as usual had become. Just somewhere to put my energy, I can generate it, and yeah. I might be getting a little restless. I've been wanting to join you all again. I think it's going to get really boring to sit here and watch me think and process and smoke. I guess I'll go. It's been lovely gathering with you all when I do. Just, yeah. Like, I perceive that there's a life outside of the life that I'm living, that I must eventually get to. I've seen myself survive depressing times for myself. Times when I might as well waste every day sleeping. I've been there before. And, I did come back from it, I'm awaiting that return to the sense of vitality and purpose and, fulfillment, or the things that for which I remember there was life, and can be. Uh, it can be real unexpected, and even the means by which you change your frequency, um, to tap into an angle from which you feel you're seeing more of the bigger picture. That I don't know, you can make more sense or something. Like, there are these windows, these doors that open in life that you just go through to get to the next chamber. I see it as in chambers, just kind of like sometimes it's like waiting on a cell door to open, but you've got to go through the door when it opens. There's some of them won't be open that long. And, yeah. I just remember there was a sense that I was going somewhere. Like, 2024, no wait. No, 2025 was a crazy year too, but in 2024, I went back into Christianity after all my practices and other systems, really creating my own systems in a way, and I felt like, okay, I'm now pulled closer to my biospirit. I can be all the more white, look and behave all the more white. Like, I felt like it was a very good transformation, and then I totally got put off by all the rules and going back into Christianity. I had grown up with it, and I had been a Christian more than once in life, just finding where I fit in. Like, I don't agree with all the rhetoric and rules, and that the real God, there's just I don't know why I'm talking like my dad might see this. I don't want him to know what I think about his religion, or really, his God seems to be just fine. I'm a little worried about what it has planned for him, but that's everybody's. But I burned these witchcraft books I had accumulated. Very nice reads. Some of it's fascinating, and I thought. I don't know. I'm true to my superstitions. I get into a practice, I must see it through. My communion with the God, goddess, whatever I'm into, and the universe will try to convince you that this stuff isn't real. But, yeah, I don't think my dad's gonna watch a single one of my videos in life. So for that reason, I can just spit it out. I certainly don't think Christianity's the only way, and I don't want to be ruled by it. You know, and the one I grew up with, it's it's dignified relative to the religion as we now know it. It's I don't know, it just meant something. I felt it was a judgmental religion growing up, but there is an upholding of Western values and standards, and like it was just that was a super crazy lot of transitioning. I did a lot of screaming. Because a lot had been directed at me. I had drummed up a lot of attention out here where I live. Everybody speculated and slandered me for what I do. Or what I did. And this has proven a very untrustworthy environment. This is not how I grew up. My hometowns, though, like we frowned upon sneakily insulting people, or saying something to someone else, as opposed to the person in question. We we had our bullies and our outcasts. I was one of the outcasts in school. But I just remember in the last town I lived just thinking this is not how I grew up, the 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 way a fight would ensue or threaten to ensue, the way people talk to each other, it just it wasn't like now where everybody's playing jail games, where we have to be bothered by people through our walls, and I had put a lot of stock in returning to my hometowns. That things would go back to normal, and there's just white erasure everywhere. You can't get away from it. I haven't I haven't seen a state I could white flight to. I haven't seen enough, obviously. Um, I've been spending too much time in this seat with my head down. That messes with me. Trying to remember where I was going. Oh, yeah. Like, growing up, I had a whole... What... The thing about conservatives, you know, like... I wouldn't have wanted to be ruled by them when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, and, you know, I still wouldn't like to be ruled by them. Like, I get it, yeah, but I had no idea I would go on to appreciate them, that even, you know, these towns that I had become estranged from, you know, getting into anti-whiteism, I went a long way into, you know, thinking whites were some disease upon the earth, like, that we'd all be better off without them, including me, like, you know. Even identifying as black in some cases, if I'm really telling on myself. You know, I didn't know I would go on to appreciate traditionalism, like, you know, place much importance on the white biospirit. And I'm still trying to make sense of it all because I learned so much that, you know, is supposed to transcend race or, you know, just the mundane, you know, life. But I mean, our races are not mundane. You know, there's metaphysics to it. You know, like these are biospiritual projections. They clearly differ, but are clearly from something within. And made us have to throw on a jacket. I'm gonna be here much longer. I got cold. So I learned so much that you know, like I'd listen to Terence McKenna or you know, these guys I was checking on one of the other day. Now this is embarrassing, so I'm not gonna name drop him, but no, it just he had a totally different spin on you know, the coming down hard of the law on ICE protesters, and it totally made sense to me, like his side of it. It totally made sense to me that I'm already at 50 minutes. What the hell am I gonna say now? I'm probably almost out of time. Uh, this is the tyranny of jackbooted thugs, according to him. You know, and that they will do anything to you. I'm like, well, what the fuck? The anti-whites are already doing anything and everything to you. This is nothing. This is child's play compared to what they'll do to us, you know. Um, Even if they really needn't have sprayed the person in the inflatable frog costume. I don't even know if it was possible for that person to do any harm from inside of that thing. Um, but no, I gather it might be a hazard to your breathing. Like the content creator I was checking on had said, that could kill you, but like I don't know for some reason, just yeah, in in my own. Like, I don't know if it was real necessary to pepper spray that girl in the face, but, I know there must be some authoritarianism to take back what's been taken. Like, it's not just the loss of people's right to, you know, be mad and declare that, you're making it worse for the rest of us. You're ruining society by defying our norms and, you know, going so adamantly against them, And I'm talking about our anti-whites, not just the superset anti-whiteism, but the subsets, feminism, antinatalism, um, the I don't get how society is so wide erased, like to where it's not even fringe to, laugh at the death of Charlie Kirk or to try to white flight her away from your race in service to non-whites or some anti-white subset. Um, like we've got to keep these anti-white invaders whose norms are not our norms. They don't enforce what we need biospiritually to feel healthy. They enforce the opposite. They project their own norms, and they don't hold our standards of consent for sex, and the way we treat animals. These are just a couple examples, and these I can't remember where I was going with the subsets. I mean, these people have to become afraid. You know, they should feel that a boot is coming down upon them, because there has to be resistance to our victimization. I mean, we're being hunted more for being white than we'll ever have to worry about, or the trajectory we've been on, you're way more targeted as a white than an illegal will be. An illegal anti-white invader, because their being here is from an anti-white system bringing them in. Their being here is an attack upon us, but I mean, I do not believe that the attack is upon them. I don't think you have to worry nearly as much about being deported as an illegal invader. I mean, we're giving them IDs and licenses. What the fuck is going on? You know, just we're this most hunted race. You know, it should be staring everyone right in the face. You know, we can become South Africa, and the UK is pretty much there. It's like they're very much suffering the consequences of anti-whiteism and white erasure. And even though I know most people don't know anyone who is saying anti-whiteism, it's just not spread that far yet. You know, just as a society, we cannot turn a blind eye to anti-whiteism. You know, or the fact that you are the one under attack. You're white ass. And, you know, the lack of will to address it is a big part of why we see society as it is, why life is as malleable as it is. You know, we have to overcome this by you know, by it not just being my white ass. I am part of a people, you know, being a people. It just, it looks to me like we've all got a long way to go. We're a long way from peoplehood as a race. To where, you know, more commonly whites have the courage to stand up for being white, you know. And we had one of the, I can't say how often he comes to the community, but he came, and, you know, he'd been with us for a while. I remember seeing him in the live chats a while back, the No White Guilt live chats. Anyway, last one of them, we were in he really seemed to be deviating from the point, but, like, I knew he meant well, and it was reassuring, the talks I'd had with him prior. You know, he hadn't been back for a while, you know, needed a recap, and, you know, I told him, you know, you're not the immoral one for, you know, identifying as white. You know, it's their problem with it as the anti-whites that they are, as only an anti-white would have a problem with you identifying as white. You know, it made perfect sense that, yeah, if you haven't been back in a while, maybe you're having a little trouble if this hasn't been something you hear regularly, the way Jason spits his fire, you know, he really hammers on these points, and, it made sense to me if, like, with the Wild's absence, maybe he didn't know how to take it, but, like, the entire race needs to understand, like, the simple fact that you have a race to address about yourself. You have a biospirit, you might as well not club it down into silence. And, the rest of us will be a lot better off if you don't. There's nothing immoral about it. There's just so much of the time just in life for all of us in which, the moral actors were, coming from screens, literature, the moral actors were on the side of non-whites, and it was the evil whites who was in the good white and the good non-whites' way. Or group of non-whites. So much of, like, what we're told about our history and how to feel about it, Like, our conquerors were so much worse than everyone else's conquerors. Or did we just do the most conquering? Is that how it went down? We, relative to those we conquered, like, inspired so much jealousy in them. How conquered really are they all, though, if we're having to bend over backwards for them, like, collectively? Take them into our countries where they do whatever the hell they want to us. Feeling no sense of legal accountability and, legal repercussions. Just shockingly often, there are none for them, and these are people who do sick shit to us. They stomp our fucking faces in before they rape us, or afterward or during it. I mean, it's always something really sick. I'm hearing about murder after murder and minimal penalties, and gosh, I looked into the case of Jackie Horn and, the condition he put that woman in. Like, to even see someone could do that to someone, like, to see it on the person it's been done to, it's, and all anti-whites want this to happen to you, anti-whites of every race, but it's the lack of a term for what's being done to us, and for whatever reason, those who are not equipped with the term and concept are also, like we wanted to be here. We wanted to find a solution. That's why we found one. Um, the people who are not even looking, they also are super susceptible to the program everybody grew up with. Everybody, everybody has received the war on one's mind, and it's on our souls and everything good. Um, it's surprised I've been able to record this much. But I just see it's very normal to them. It's very normal to them to have white guilt, even if if you ask them if they have white guilt, they may say no. But to operate on it is very normal to them. It's not bothering them like it's bothering me. Clearly. Um, that's why it looks like a long way, and just because it'll take a lot from us, doesn't mean it's not worth doing. And yet you've got a cowardly lot in the white race. In all races, there's a lot of cowardice on the earth. I haven't found a better solution than introducing the concept anti-whiteism. Yeah. Sitting weird. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen one way forward that will really do it. The conservatives, they don't really have our backs, and the LARPers and Jacebergs, they'll only hold us back if we let them. It's up to us to share the points we have to share, the moral high ground we have to share, and how it is the moral high ground. It's up to us to keep pushing, and maybe I've been reduced to little pushes. I don't know. I have not been satisfied with the amount of activism. of which I'm a part lately, like my own participation in it. I always feel like there's got to be more I can do, and I've gotten pretty distracted by some anti-whiteism. I might have been hearing, might have been somebody saying some other stuff. Who knows? Uh, I don't want my flow interrupted here. I'm on a roll, sort of. Gosh. That's pretty good. I've got this much time on this device. Might do something a little more structured for that. Might just give it a test run and see how long it'll go. This is great. Yeah, that's pretty good news. I can record for up to an hour and 12 minutes. I don't remember if I finished the story about the one of us who, I hadn't been back to the live chats at No I Guilt in a while, we're kind of having to give him a refresher. Yeah, it made perfect sense to him when we, told him, like, yeah, you're the moral actor, and, he just, like, I don't know, he was more receptive after that, and, it made sense to me that someone could take the issues or have the questions he had. It's just, I've got to be there for the people who will give it a listen, like, I've seen, not all anti-whiteism is necessarily a deliberate attack, but it really is, actually. I mean, just a lot of people are very automated. It's just whatever programming was the most effective to them, it sticks to them more. I mean, like I said, you have to have been looking for a solution often to, to find a diagnosis for what's plaguing all Western countries and once great nations. I just, yeah. Just have to be there to be the wrench in the machine. I'm irritated because, like, I don't know what I heard earlier, but like a minute ago, I was going somewhere and that was distracting. Uh, and then they'll try to do that, you know. They haven't broken me, and they won't. Yeah. I just know everything's going away, you know. There's a lot that I could be active for, you know, get into activism on behalf of, but I haven't seen anything so under attack, you know. I mean, they just have to destroy our history and us, you know. They have to commit violence and destruction and harm upon us. Um, these are not people who should be allowed to live, if you ask me. Uh, you know, it's anti-white terrorism to try to undermine the founding stock of a country on the basis of their being white, to sanction their harm, to call for it, you know, and it's not fringe, you know, it's not fringe to do that, you know. So, yeah, I live in a very untrustworthy environment. These are not people who I can identify as also human or sentient or, you know, worthy of living. I'm talking about the anti-whites, of course, which, as I've said, you know, this is a common disease. It's accepted, you know. It's not like, you know, raise awareness for this problem, you know. It's like a badge or something to these people, like they're proud of embracing the socially moral morality. And that's what needs changed, the social morality. But people have to access the concepts. That's key. And, you know, it looks like it's all up to us to be the wrench, you know, like the wrench in the machine that, you know, can stop all this up. And we can build from or take a long time rebuilding from the ashes of the anti-white regime. That's what we have to take down over time. Yeah. It's all about introducing to the world one, how easy it is to show the morality in what we're doing. And what we're doing is standing up for the white biospirit that will have a future that actually reflects what our biospirit needs to be healthy. It's it's worth the dedication it takes to still feel that I am invested in this. I am going to see it through. It's worth the enforcing upon oneself. And you either get it or you don't. We know what we're doing. We know and that's when you know. It's just wild. I don't see a way forward without the Go Free community. I don't see anyone hitting the mark like the Go Free community. Just staying consistently aligned to address anti-whiteism. Like, we always bring it, like wherever we go with it, we bring it back to, it's an attack upon all of us. It's whatever the attack is to just our norms or one of our people. There has to be an our people. No and if or buts. Yeah. I'm seeing this through. We're seeing it through. I feel like this is the only way to properly contribute. If anything like Go Free gets written again, I'll be happy to recommend it. I can see how Jason may be a little off-putting to some, or, if you're not used to hearing him speak, you may you just may rub you the wrong way, or you may take it the wrong way. It's like, you've got to see it through. You've got to. You can't just skim the surface. You can't just watch a few minutes of No White Guilt and then, like you totally get it and you're ready for the war ahead. I don't think it's the commitment of war. you know, like there is a real war on you, you know, and you know the way most people seem to want to respond to that is just be part of the white erasure and the anti-whiteism, even though you'll never be anti-white enough for anti-whiteism and the people encompassed by it, because that's not how they work. They don't have some scales of fairness internally with which they come to conclusions and make decisions and act upon. They don't have that, you know. um, Not all of them have to go. I mean, we don't have to let a whole race deteriorate, and you know, we don't have to just comply with our own. It is genocide, but you know, there seems to be stigma attached to saying white genocide, that we can really avoid by continuing to call it white erasure. Um, oh, I have sunk low, huh? Everybody saw that. White genocide, white erasure. Yeah. Really, it's just these people who think we can run from it, or that you can white flight into anti-whiteism away from anti-whiteism and white erasure. They have another thing coming. But we don't have to let the whole white race do that. There is hope for those who will just entertain a little of what we have to say, you know, just, you know, relax. We know you have been infected by anti-whiteism. Anti-whiteism will come at you from, I mean, yeah, your own mind, your own thinking here and there. And you will find that it's just damage. It just has to be dealt with, you know. Like, this is not all comfortable work. I remember saying the other day in a shade tree gathering, there was a lot of anti-whiteism to overcome when I read Go Free. A lot of mean pathogens, a lot of internal work. This is what I meant to start with. There was a lot of internal work, you know, that I had to face, why I had become so estranged from the white race and come to hate them as I had before. And just everything, you know, you're really digging. You're really digging in there and see what went wrong, and you know, how you would go on to conclude the things you would. I used to, like, obviously I was going in a much more white positive direction to be investing in Go Free and coming to know White Guilt Lives and, participating. But when I got the book, I just, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to process and come to terms with, what I had to do to ultimately, gain the upper hand over this massive, infectious programming that meme pathogens is what we call it. We call them like a meme. A meme can say a lot in this one picture, but what it's saying, it's always saying something about us whites that we are less connected to God or the divine or real morality or feeling, it's just like, yeah, you can't just skim the surface. And I was never one to do that, thankfully. At least if I find something I feel is worth doing, I'll stick to it. Lately, man, it's like ain't shit worth doing. But I've been through that before, so I guess don't expect me to freak out about it too far. I'm glad I went down the rabbit hole. Yeah. It's one of those doors you've got to go through. I would be so off balance without it. There's no imagining where I'd be. Because that's not how it went. I went ahead and looked further in and got more involved and yeah. It just it's just more natural. Just more natural to embrace being white. Being the white biospirit. It's beautiful and something to celebrate in. And I guess that's all I want to share for now. I appreciate anybody taking the time, if I've entertained you or you've resonated, that's good. I'm glad for that. Yeah. Without you, I'm only rambling amongst myself, and, if I wanted to do that, I wouldn't have started recording, right? I've been with myself a long time, so I appreciate your company and you coming here. And I'll holler at y'all again sometime. Maybe maybe I'll do something more structured, or I don't know. Pick a nice setting. Uh, there's got to be, like I said, there's got to be something more I can do. Mm. I'll yeah, I'll have to go. uh, I'll just, I don't want to leave anything out, but this probably be a good time for me to go. I'm about to get a little restless. Um, Gosh. Well, I don't want to ask you for any likes, but it'd probably help if you did give me one. Um, I don't think I'm very far in this content creation stuff yet. I've done video shoots a lot more offhand, I'm sure. I've had setups, but I mean, there was a lot of just a lot of it had to go or something. Well, don't want to ramble on too much. I love you all. Take care.